This is All Things Fitness and Wellness, uniting industry thought leaders and fitfluencers on the mission to inspire innovation and encourage people to live a life fit and well. Brought to you by the British Columbia Personal Training Institute. Learn how to train, gain, and retain clients. Visit bcpti.ca. On today's episode, we have Belgin Aksoy joining us from Turkey. Belgin boasts an impressive roster of achievements, having founded Turkey's destination spa, Richmond Nua Wellness Spa, which is one of Europe's most award-winning. On the podcast, Belgin opens up about her battle with thyroid cancer at the age of 29 years old when she was a new mom to her 17-month-old son. This terrifying ordeal was a catalyst to her path to wellness, and sparked her mission to bring her vision to the world through Global Wellness Day, which is now celebrated by millions in over 170 countries. Before we get to it, be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new podcast episodes weekly featuring industry thought leaders and influencers. Plus, we continue our gym and wellness haven tours where we share inspiring founder stories. I'm your host, Krissy Vann, and this is ATFW. All, I am so pleased for you to join me, especially the fact that it's Global Wellness Day, so we're able to connect Canada and Turkey today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Well, we're at time of recording just coming off the heels of Global Wellness Day, and I know that there were countries celebrating around the globe. This is a huge movement, and you are at the root of it. So I'm so pleased to learn more about your journey. And I know that your journey really started within the wellness tourism space. So talk to me about those early days and how you got into that niche.
Thank you very much, Krissy. It's actually more than 170 countries.
Incredible.
And, it all started in 2004 when I actually thought that I had, a fairly healthy lifestyle. I was a new mother. I just had my son who was 17 months old back then. And I thought I had it all. Everything was in place. And what else could I ask for? And unfortunately, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And from then on, I had to change a lot of things in my life. It's really hard to die from thyroid cancer because if you don't care about yourself, then it might go into your lymph nodes and everything. But since I was someone that was taking care of herself, that was not the case. But the thing is, when you talk about thyroid, you're talking about hormones. And when you talk about a woman that just gave birth, then you're again talking about hormones. So that kind of coincided, and that was quite a difficult period for me. And after I had my thyroidectomy, which is having all your thyroid removed, before I was put on medication, you need some time for the regulation of everything else. And plus I had to go through a radioiodine therapy where you need to be isolated for 9 to 10 days in a hospital room. That was the moment that I had kind of this mindfulness about what was important in life and what was actually not that important, and all the things that I kept in my throat and I did not speak about. And knowing a thing or two about chakras, I realized that it was my throat chakra that I was having it clogged. Because back in the day, this is about, 19, 20 years ago, it was really important for me, if I say this, maybe I'm going to break this person's heart. It's better if I hold it in and not talk about it. And all the words I swallowed, at least that's what I believe, I made myself sick. I'm definitely not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that sometimes we do that. Sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves and we punish ourselves for some reason. I don't know what the case was for me back in the day, but I definitely made myself sick. And from 2004 until 2012 was the period that I healed myself. It was my journey of healing and understanding my purpose in life, my ikigai, how the Japanese people say, which I love. my purpose of life. Why am I here? What am I doing here? What kind of difference am I making in life? All these questions that we ask ourselves. By 2012, I was healthier than ever before. I changed a lot of things in my life. I changed my relationship with life, not my relationship with my loved ones, not my relationship with my work. I changed my relationship with life, and that made a whole difference. And then I realized that first, my friends, my loved ones, like my first circle, then my second circle started to ask me, what are you doing different? You look a lot better. You're shining. You're more joyful. You're more bright. And what are you doing differently? And then I started to explain, because I changed my diet, my exercise regime, my sleeping habits, and like I said, most importantly, my relationship with life. Then I started telling them, actually, you can do this, you can do that. I was giving little advices here and there, not even advices. I cannot even call them advices, but I was just telling them what I was doing. And they were taking it as advices, let's put it that way. And 2012, whenever I tell this, I feel like whoever is listening to this is going to probably think I'm a crazy woman, but this is the reality. Like, what I'm going to say is exactly what happened. I started to hear a voice in my ear, in my head. And that was not my inner self talking to me, because we have our inner selves talking to us, and we know that voice. It's actually our voice talking to us. This was a different voice. It was like another woman's voice talking to me, saying, what are you going to do for the world? The first time I heard this, I'm like, huh? What? What am I going to do for the world? Who am I to do something for the world? I'm just a simple individual living in Turkey, Istanbul, and I have no power whatsoever. What can I do for the world? And plus, who are you? And why are you asking me this question? Am I losing my mind? And so I just was like trying to not to hear it. A few days, weeks passed, and I kept on hearing the voice, to make it short. And then I decided to ask back a question to this weird voice that I was hearing. And I said, what can I do for the world? And the answer was like, you were sick. Now you're healthier than ever before. What are you going to do for the world? The answer was another question. And I just sat down in front of my computer, and I went to Safari, and I just put down the words Global Wellness Day. Not to find that day, I was actually so sure that a Global Wellness Day existed, because if not anywhere in the world, for sure in the United States, a day dedicated to wellness was there, because there is, so many days dedicated to the things that are not necessarily that valuable to us, like, Cupcake Day. And
we got Donut Day.
Yeah. Not like a wellness day, for sure. And I just wanted to, go to any celebration of Global Wellness Day and to get an idea of how I can, turn this voice down in my head, what I can do for the world, if I can find little something to do for the world. And I check and I check and I check, and I realize that a day dedicated to wellness does not exist. I'm like, really? And, obviously in 2012, wellness was not this popular, and but still I thought there would be a day, and there was no such day. And I thought, okay, I'm in the tourism and wellness industry, so I thought, maybe we can just, organize a very simple, modest wellness celebration at our hotel. We can, invite some hotel guests and some of my friends, and we can, just organize a day. And I didn't even call it Global Wellness Day back in the day. I called it Wellness Day. So I'm saying, my vision was probably not that wide. You know, it was like so narrow that I called it Wellness Day. I didn't think it could go global. And it was a beautiful day. You know, we had a nutrition psychologist that I invited from US. So we started at 10, you know, until like 5, 6 o'clock. We had different workshops, and they were, like I said, some hotel guests, and the rest was like some of my friends that just wanted to be next to me and say like, okay, she's organizing this day, let's go and support our friend. Who knows what she's putting herself into? Because when you come up with an idea, usually, at least in Turkey, that's how it is. It's like, oh, come on. Like if it's not there, that means somebody thought about it, and then, you know, this somebody realized that it's not a good idea, so it did not happen. So, I mean, you have already your work, your son, you're already very busy. Like, why are you putting yourself into this? Like, just leave it. This is how good ideas actually get suffocated. And
we
they
squash
are like,
the dream first so often, right?
You know, they're like dead before they're born, unfortunately. That it happens quite a lot in Turkey. And most of my friends, because they love me and because they wanted to protect me, you know, they were saying, come on, Belgin, I mean, Wellness Day, maybe sometime, you know, it will be celebrated around the world. It's just a lot of work. You don't have the time. There's no like need to put this energy. But whatever, for me, when I go back to my intention of creating this day, I said to myself, even if one person, one single person changes one single thing in his or her life, I will be happy. It will be all worth it for all the work that I put into it, because my life changed in one day. And obviously, you know, when I got sick, when I learned, you know, I mean, cancer is a big word. It kind of like, you know, when you have a little child, you're like, first thing you're like, am I going to die? And this and that. And is therapy going to, yeah, it's a hard process. And, you know, when you go through all this like denial and all these periods, and when you come to the point of saying to yourself, okay, this is the reality, this is my reality, what can I do? Like, what can I learn out of it? Or like, what can I take out of it? And what can I give back to the world? So I was at that stage. And at the end of the first Global Wellness Day back in the day celebration, with only 150 people in one single location, you know, Turkey, Istanbul, Sapanca, which is an hour away from Istanbul, a little village. If you fast forward to today, now it's in more than 170 countries, and thousands, in tens of thousands of locations, celebrated by millions of people. And I can proudly say that it's almost 1 billion people that celebrated Global Wellness Day this year. I still cannot believe when I tell these numbers that, you know, on its 12th year, this can be the reality, but it's obviously not only, you know, my work. It's the very hard work of the Global Wellness Day family, I call it. We have about 120 Global Wellness Day ambassadors around the world that all work on voluntary basis. These are all people that, you know, have their families, have their careers and everything, but they give the time, which is the most precious thing that we have, you know, and the effort to spread wellness and Global Wellness Day in their countries, you know, along the year. And then on the second Saturday of June every year, they organize events in their countries. And then there are also some countries and islands that I even don't know that exist, you know. And when I put hashtag Global Wellness Day, for example, on Instagram or on social media, in whichever platform, I'm like, oh, I realized that Global Wellness Day was celebrated in this little island on the other side of the world, which I didn't even know existed. I'm like, wow, you know, it's almost like now it's a no-brainer that second Saturday of June is Global Wellness Day. without me trying to spread it, without the Global Wellness Day family and the ambassadors, trying to say, okay, this is our purpose, this is our vision, this is our mission, and it's 100% not for profit. That's I would like to underline and bold it. It's very important. Obviously, we all know Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, which I have nothing against those days. I love those days, but we have the intention of buying something to our loved ones on those days. And because Global Wellness Day is on the process of getting into the official calendar of United Nations, is because it's 100% not-for-profit day, and it's not a commercial day. We do not encourage people to buy something for their loved ones, but we ask them to take the 7-step manifesto of Global Wellness Day into their lives, which is very simple 7 steps. It's a walk for an hour, drink more water, eat healthy, do a good deed, don't use plastic bottles, have a family dinner, and sleep at 10. And if 10 is too early, make sure you sleep at 11 p.m. because it's so important to be asleep between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. for our growth hormones. And I think the magic, the reason why Global Wellness Day was embraced by millions of people around the world is because we kept it so simple, and also because it's 100% not for profit. And I'm sorry, you asked one question. I answered probably 10 of your questions, but Global Wellness Day makes me so excited. I can speak till the morning. So if you have another question, please go ahead.
Honestly,
more or less, this is like the very compressed story of Global Wellness Day's birth.
Fitness World's 16 British Columbia high-value, low-cost gyms are committed to helping people reach their fitness goals, whatever those may be. Exercise and movement play a pivotal role in supporting people's overall health and wellness, and it is Fitness World's mission to provide the facilities, services, and amenities to help you achieve your fitness your way. Visit fitnessworld.ca for more information. This is why I love this type of medium, though. And kind of before we even dove in, I was like, I keep the conversation organic because there's so many beautiful things that come out of our stories. And you shared so much there. I mean, anyone, when they hear that, never mind getting a diagnosis as scary as cancer, because as you spoke to it, you hear the word and your mind immediately tries to problem solve in every direction. Intrusive thoughts become part of the narrative if we aren't well practiced in working through those. And even if you are, it's going to challenge those practices in a big way. And then on top of that, you put into the equation this beautiful 17-month-old, which any friends of mine that are mothers, going through all of those first stages is difficult without adding that to the equation. So I can't imagine the inner work that you had to do. And you did speak to creating these healthy foundations in regards to focusing on your sleep, your nutrition, getting movement. But when you talk about that relationship with life, and how that built the bridge to get you to put something into action like Global Wellness Day, I'm curious, what tools did you start to incorporate during that period of time from 2004 to 2012 that started that relationship and conversation with life?
Okay, the first thing I did was I wanted to do detox. And back in the day, when you think about 2004 and the word detox, it's not like today. In Turkey, when you said detox, many people didn't know about this, but I wanted to do detox because I just wanted to get rid of the radiation that I got into. I just want to scrape it off. I was like, oh my God, it's like, I felt like I was dirty. I felt like I just had to get this thing out of my body. And I started researching and I saw actually seawater is very good for it. So I was like, even though it was cold, I was trying to get a nice swim and stay in the seawater. And I also wanted to go and do a detox, and I went to Shivasom in Thailand, which was and is still one of the best wellness centers in the world in Hua Hin. I went there to do my first ever juicing detox for a week, which was incredible. And then I came back and I said, okay, I need to change my fitness regime as well. And I started to work out. I kind of exaggerated it a little bit. I was, working out with my PT 4 times a week and doing cardio 6 times a week. And so my fat percentage went too low, and I was not having my period for some time, for like the estrogen levels, which were like too low. And my diet was like too
Calorie
I was
restricted.
restricting myself a little bit too much. I was counting the almonds that I was eating. I was measuring everything that I was eating. So I put the healthy lifestyle right at the center of my life, which afterwards, after a few years, I realized that was like physically from outside, I looked gorgeous, like very fit. But mentally and psychologically, emotionally, because my fat percentage was too low, and I am a woman and I need that estrogen, I was like a little bit too edgy. And I was like, no, I cannot come to this family dinner because at that time of the day, I need to do my workout. And that's, the most important thing. And I became a little bit asocial, and I was not as social as before. And, all my loved ones were saying, aren't you exaggerating a little bit? I was like, no, that's like, it's important to be healthy, and I need to be healthy. I need to be fit, this and that, 3-4 years like that. And then I was, on raw vegan diet for some time, after being on animal protein for such a long time. Then I was like raw vegan. So what I can tell you is that I went, it was like up and down like this, trying to find my way. And then I realized it's all about balance. You can look gorgeous from outside, but you can be the most unhappy person, or the vice versa. You can be obese and you can be like actually so happy. It's all about the balance. And to be in balance, physically, psychologically, and mentally all the time is impossible, because we are human beings and life is continuously throwing things at us. And, we're trying to dance with the waves that are coming at us. So it's a lifelong journey. The day that you're trying to look for that balance is the day that actually it's the end of it. So I can never say, oh, now I got it all, I'm like at the top of my wellness level. It's impossible for me to say that, because I don't know what's going to hit me tomorrow. Maybe I will have something that's going to hit me emotionally or physically. Maybe I will just, have an injury on my knee and I will not be able to exercise. The sentence, only the fittest will survive. I believe in only the flexible will survive. It's all about like, being flexible and saying, life, I'm here, throw whatever you want to throw at me. I'll take it, the good and the bad, because as human beings, unfortunately, we have the tendency to embrace whatever positive that comes towards us. But then if it's negative, we're like, oh no, I don't want it. But, it's all about yin yang, it's all about the positive and the negative in life. And we need to say, okay, that's fine too. And the next question that we have to ask is, what's in there to learn? Why is this happening? Because if this is happening, this is definitely happening for a reason. And there's something for me there to learn. And I'm so glad that I was able to look at my diagnosis this way. Of course, there was this period that I said, I'm married, I have a little son, I have everything that I want in my life. Like, why is this happening to me now? Where did this come from? But then I'm so glad that I was able to say, okay, like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, what is it? Like, there's definitely something that I need to learn. And then once I learned what I had to learn, it was the time for me to be back in service, to give back to the universe for the gift that it gave me when I was only 29 years old. And I'm so glad that I had cancer when I was 29 years old, because it could have happened to me when I was, 89, 99 years old. And I could have missed the magic of life, the magic of what can a single person, because we're all unique. I believe, with 8 billion people in the world, we're all unique, and we all have an ikigai, and we all have a purpose in this life. We don't all have to create a day, obviously, but we can do the smallest thing in life and change the life of someone else, which we don't know what that person is going to change in somebody else's life. That's why it was so important for me when I go back to my intention of creating this day. And when I said, even if it's one person, I'll be very happy, because I don't know what that one person is going to do. So it's not always about us and what we will change, but it's actually, our way of embracing what's happening to us and how we change the life of somebody else, someone we know or someone that we don't know, someone that we will never, ever have the chance to meet, because like I said, this person might be living in this island, which I don't even know that exists, but Global Wellness Day is celebrated there. So it's, we are more powerful than we think. Whoever is listening or watching this, I would like, everyone to repeat themselves that we are very special individuals. And when we say, I'm just one person, what can I do? Oh, we can move the whole world around and change a lot of things if we can think like that. If we get the intention in the morning, and if we wake up saying it's a new day, and I am so grateful that I'm alive, first of all, and every single moment of today, of this 24 hours, will be magical, because we are all, we are magic. You are magic in this world. I am magic in this world. Mary and Harry and Sam that is listening to this is magic in this world for sure. We just need to realize it. I mean, I believe the only thing that we have to do in this life is to die. Like, we cannot get away from it. It's a must. We have to die. Other than that, there's nothing that we have to do. It's all about choice. It's all about decision. And if we choose to be joyful, which I'm not saying happy on purpose, I'm choosing the word joyful, because obviously we cannot be happy every day. But we can be joyful at any circumstances that we're in, if we make the decision to choose to be joyful. And it just changes the whole perspective of life.
I couldn't agree more, because when you speak to those waves, it's so true. I think in life, we can be so guilty of creating this illusion that we're in control. And there's, to a capacity, we are in control of our intentions. We are in control of being able to take a step back and observe the mind and pivot from there. But the sways of life are going to happen, and having that fluidity to move through is something that you speak to so beautifully. And then from that, you're the ripple, right? It takes one step, one dream put into action that truly can make that difference. And I'm curious, when you were in those early stages of bringing Global Wellness Day to life and getting that first group of 150 together, and you do have those friends that are kind of like, yeah, okay, we're here, but don't necessarily have the same vision or connection to the why that you did. How did you move through any instances of imposter syndrome? Because I think that's something that any creative work or any idea put into action, our brains can kind of be very good at being our first naysayer, especially if we don't necessarily have that outside support as well.
When I think about that period, when I was, especially between 2012 and 2015, 16, those were the crazy years of my life, where I think I did not do it. Some kind of power made me do this. It was like falling in love. Have you ever fallen in love?
Sure have.
When we fall in love, before you go to sleep, you think about this person, during your sleep, when you wake up, you find yourself thinking about this person. You wake up, you're thinking about this person, you're taking a shower, shampooing your hair, you're thinking of driving for me, it's like that. I was thinking about one more person that will know about Global Wellness Day before I went to sleep, during I sleep, when I woke up, when I was in shower, when I was driving, continuously. It was like I was obsessed with the idea of spreading Global Wellness Day to the world. And 2014 made a huge difference because that was when I attend to Global Wellness Summit every year. And a Global Wellness Summit happens in a different country every year. The founder is Susie Ellis. When she invited me to do a forum about Global Wellness Day, when the summit was in Marrakesh, actually, and all the decision makers of the wellness sector attend to the summit. And after the forum, there was also a competition about the future of wellness. And obviously, I made a videography about Global Wellness Day. So out of 42, if I'm not mistaken, countries, Turkey with the Global Wellness Day videography was the winner. And also at the end of the forum, I was on stage to explain the takeaways of this forum. And there I said, we're the decision makers in the wellness industry here, and I would like to have Global Wellness Day ambassadors. And if you're interested about this, please come and find me. And I just talked about it without even thinking. It was very spontaneous. I didn't know myself what Global Wellness Day ambassador meant. What was like the duty statement of this person, but I didn't think there was going to be this kind of interest because I thought, my wellness network is quite wide around the world, and I will just, once I know what that means, I will email people and ask if they would like to be Global Wellness Day ambassadors. And instead, it was a 3-day summit, and the takeaway session was the third day, almost the end of the summit. So I go down, I sit down, and then there's like the closing of the summit. I'm just trying to, pack my bag and everything. And I feel like this, someone is at my shoulder and saying, I look back and I say, and this person is like with the business cards. And we're talking about like big shots in wellness industry, CEO of this international hotel chain, whatever. And he was like, I would like to be the Global Wellness Day ambassador of this country, and this is my business card. Please send me the necessary information. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And I'm like, okay, and what am I going to send to this person now? And then it took me like half an hour to be able to get out of that meeting room. Because when I looked back, there was a line of people with business cards saying, I would like to be the ambassador. I would like to be the ambassador. And then when I was on the plane, I was with a deck of business cards. And I said to myself, Belgin, like, what did you do? What did you just do? What are you going to send to these people? Because I am, in business life, I'm a very organized person. When I talk about something, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm going to send, and I have my team, everything is tipped up. But with Global Wellness Day, everything was so organic that, I obviously didn't have a team, nothing. It was just myself. And I thought, what now? Like all these people are waiting and like some kind of information from me. That's why 2014, 15, 16, 17, were the years that I was trying to, like I said, with the wave, surfing with the wave and finding a way to spread Global Wellness Day as much as possible. And I'm so thankful that when your intention is right and when it's not about money, it's not about anything else, it's all about, trying to be in service to the universe and to people in the world, doors open and people help and magic happens, miracle happens. I had some names that embraced Global Wellness Day, like Oprah Winfrey, like Meghan Markle or Richard Branson or Venus Williams. All these people that I thought I would never have a chance to meet, which some of them I still didn't meet, but I had their support because I guess they realized the fact that, it's 100% not for profit, and it's all about who can say to wellness at the end of the day, especially after COVID, right? Like, we realized doesn't matter what we have, what we're wearing, what car we're driving, what kind of house we're living in. If you don't have your health, all the rest is just history. It doesn't mean anything. And unfortunately, there is this misconception that wellness, because the word wellness comes together with spa, and spa is actually something that only considered as something that is only for the people who can afford it. So then the word wellness has this curse on it that it's only for the privileged people. But instead, wellness, to me, which I've been saying this for the last 12 years, is not a luxury, and it's the inherent right of every individual, because, you can have all the privilege in life. And like I said, you can look 100% perfect from outside. That doesn't mean you're well. Or the vice versa. I was in Thailand a few months ago at the Myanmar border, where, these people live in very difficult conditions. And when you look from outside, they don't have a toilet, they have lice on their head, they have, very poor food supply. And most of them are very joyful. You see those kids with no shoes running around, laughing, and they're so happy. And so it's not about, the financial situation all the time. It's not about what you can afford. It's about the joy. And Global Wellness Day's mission, because it's global, it's all about enhancing the wellness level of the location where it's celebrated. To put it into perspective, what Global Wellness Day celebrations mean, on the second Saturday of June, in Four Seasons, Beverly Hills, when you talk about that, you're talking about a certain kind of wellness level, right? So Four Seasons, Beverly Hills, rooftop, the celebrity yogi is giving a yoga class to very privileged people. And at the same time, like I said, in Myanmar border, it's called no man's land, people with not even an identification card are having lice treatment on their head, and they're having workshops about contraceptives because they don't know about it. You cannot expect to give a glass of green juice to someone who has lice on his head, or you cannot expect to give a lice treatment to someone in Beverly Hills. So it's all about enhancing the wellness level of the place where Global Wellness Day is celebrated. So there are like millions of ways to celebrate it. It just depends on what the country, city, village, neighborhood that is celebrated needs.
You have had tremendous success within the wellness industry as a whole. Obviously, you brought Turkey's Destination Spa to life, and it really speaks to your level of business sense. And then to be able to kind of let go and see something unfold the way you have with Global Wellness Day, and then to get to this level where all of a sudden you have your Oprahs speaking to it and spreading this message, it's pretty fantastic. It truly does speak to rolling with the waves, which has kind of been the theme of this conversation. As you look to the future, when you kind of take a peek into that crystal ball, what do you want to see for the future of wellness?
Well, definitely, I would like, all 8 billion people celebrate Global Wellness Day. And, obviously, we all have a certain time of days that we have in this beautiful place called life. And I don't know how much time I have, but I would love Global Wellness Day to be in the official calendar of the United Nations before I die, because it's very important for me that it is celebrated by the next generations.
Well, you planted the ripple has spread. You truly are fulfilling that mission from that voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all because you decided to take that spark and put it into action, which is an impressive quality, because sometimes we get in our way of saying yes to things like that. And I think one of the most beautiful themes of this conversation is how you recognize that fragility in life. And I relate a lot to that as you speak to that for different reasons completely, but it's a lesson I learned at a younger age. And when you use something like that to fuel you toward a really pure purpose, I absolutely agree. There is a magic within that. And I think it's connection to not just self, but to each other. And really that is all the same connection at the same time. And I just really commend you for using your voice and continuing to propel this forward, because it's so true. No matter where you are in the world, a lot of those pillars and those 7 simple parts of your manifesto are something that's highly achievable. But I think that there's enough distraction in life and enough busy that we actually don't prioritize that space. And so using your voice may just jig something in someone's mind to carve that out little by little, because on this podcast, we speak a lot to the fitness element, and I get it. It's hard to transform our entire lives in a day. And sometimes we decide, let's say with a workout, I'm going to go 6 times a week and go for an hour every day, instead of just deciding maybe I'll go for a walk once a week to start things out. And it's kind of that same mindset we need with every part of our wellness journey. Before I let you go, I love to leave people with one final nugget of wisdom, or perhaps a motivational quote that really resonates with you. And I feel like you've shared so many with us, but what's the note that you'd like to leave us on today?
Well, the motto of Global Wellness Day is one day can change your whole life. My life changed in one day, and one day can change our lives as well. And the other one is, for me, a personal slogan is, I give myself limits to be free. I believe in that so much, because it's so hard to have a doctor in front of you and saying, think like you have diabetes or this or that, or like, you're pre-diabetic, let's say, and the doctor says you need to cut this out and you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you have to do this and you must not do this, and all these restrictions. And not to have these kind of restrictions to be given at us by someone else, we have to give some kind of restrictions to ourselves daily in order to be free to do whatever we want for, whatever time that we have in this beautiful life. So please give yourself limits to be free, and believe that one day can change your whole life.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation. You are a true inspiration. And as you spoke to earlier, time is the greatest gift that we can give. And it's important to be thoughtful in how we spend it. So truly, I do appreciate that you carved out the time and space, because your message is a really powerful one.
Thank you, Krissy. Thank you very much for having me today.
You've just listened to All Things Fitness and Wellness. This episode was brought to you by Fitness World. Your fitness, your way. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you never miss out on hearing from industry thought leaders and influencers. We are on a mission to help everyone live a life fit and well.